Welcome back to Cliffhangers and Page Turners. This is episode 15.
Hey, everyone.
And we've got a really intense one for you today. We're looking at Stephen King's Never Flinch.
Oh, yeah. Master of Suspense definitely lives up to it here. Wow.
It really is. It just pulls you right in. We're going to try and unpack this complex web he weaves. There's mystery, danger, unexpected connections. It's classic King.
Absolutely. And it starts dark right away.
It kicks off with this deeply unsettling note, doesn't it? Someone calling himself Bill Wilson.
Mm-hmm. And he's promising atonement in all caps, you know.
Right. And his idea of atonement is, well, it's horrific. He plans to kill 13 innocent people.
And one guilty one. Specifically, he says, targeting those who cause the innocent to die.
It's such a twisted sense of justice right from the start. Sets a really bleak tone.
Totally. He even mentions the Blackstone rule. You know, that legal idea about rather letting the guilty go free than convicting one innocent.
Yeah.
He flips it completely on its head. Says he's doing the opposite.
Wow. Okay. So we're thrown right into it with the investigators, Izzy and Tom Atta.
Yep. They're scrambling, trying to make sense of this threat. Who is this Bill Wilson? And maybe more importantly, who's the guilty one he's after?
And they do get a potential lead pretty quickly, don't they? This guy, Kerry Tolliver.
Right. Kerry Tolliver, he's in the hospital, suffering from pancreatic cancer, like really ill.
Only weeks to live, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And he has this connection to Alan Duffrey.
Ah, the man who was framed and then murdered in prison.
That's the one. And Tolliver actually admits it. He admits framing Duffrey.
Why? What was the motive there?
Petty revenge, basically.
Right.
Duffrey apparently stole a promotion from him. So Tolliver wanted him on the sex offender registry out of pure spite.
So he definitely fits the bill for the guilty one mentioned in the note. Someone who caused an innocent person's death indirectly.
He does. But, like you said, he's dying. He's clearly impaired. In the hospital, he can't possibly be the one doing the killing.
Which is where Holly Gibney comes in.
Yes. Holly. Her insights are always so crucial in these stories.
So she gets involved, and what does she bring to the table here?
Well, she starts connecting the dots. She suggests maybe the victims of this Bill Wilson aren't random. Maybe they're tied to that original Alan Duffrey case somehow.
And she right?
Tragically, yes. Chillingly accurate. As the murders start happening, a pattern emerges.
What kind of pattern?
The killer leaves the name of a juror from the Duffrey trial in the hand of each victim.
Oh, that's cold. So people like Epstein, Mitborough, Sinclair, Rafferty, Groves.
Exactly. Those names confirm Holly's theory. It's not random. It's targeted vengeance linked directly to Duffrey's trial. The threat is very real.
And Holly has another breakthrough, right, about the name Bill Wilson.
She does. She recognizes it. It's significant in, like, recovery programs, AA, NA, that sort of thing.
Oh, right. People use it as an alias for anonymity.
Precisely. So she reaches out to her contacts, John Ackerley and Jerome, people who might know that world.
And they start looking for someone using Bill Wilson or maybe Bill W. within the recovery community.
Yeah. And that search, combined with another tragedy, the murder of Reverend Mike Rafferty.
Another victim.
Yeah. But this time, they find something crucial on his calendar.
What is it?
The name Trigg, just written there.
Yeah.
Izzy thinks maybe it's Briggs at first.
Okay.
But they get a graphologist, someone who analyzes handwriting.
Yeah.
Confirms it. It's Trigg. Much more distinct. Now the police have a specific name to look for.
So they can search for Trigg within the recovery community and maybe even among police officers, too.
Exactly. Widens the net, but also makes it more specific.
Yeah.
And they also realize, looking back, that Annette McElroy was likely his first victim, even before the jurors.
Okay, so that's one major storyline. This methodical killer, Trigg, seeking revenge for Ellen Duffrey. But King's running a parallel story simultaneously, isn't he?
He is. Completely separate, it seems at first. We follow Kate McKay.
The feminist speaker on tour. Described as dynamic, provocative.
Very much so. Draws big crowds, but also a lot of opposition, intense opposition.
Yeah, the material mentions protests. Sometimes things get violent at her events.
And that violence hits really close to home for her team. The bleach attack.
Horrifying. On her assistant, Corey Anderson, in Reno.
Corey's a really interesting character here. She's dealing with the attack, the logistics, her own recovery, but also wrestling with her role. She feels like Kate uses her sometimes like an object lesson or a show pony, as she puts it.
That adds a lot of depth. She's not just a victim. There's this internal conflict, too.
Definitely. And adding to the tension, Kate and Corey know someone is stalking them.
Leaving threats, notes,
Yeah.
often with scripture references.
Yeah, indicating a clear religious motivation behind the stalking, which is why Holly Gibney gets involved again.
But this time for security, not investigation. Well, kind of both, I guess.
Kind of both, yeah. She's hired for security, but she uses her investigative skills. She manages to connect the stalker.
Chris, or Chrissy Stewart.
Yeah. Right, Chrissy Stewart. Holly links them to a specific fundamentalist church, Real Christ Holy, and a deacon there named Andy Fallows.
And what's driving Chrissy? It seems really complex.
It is. It's tied to their deceased sister, Christine, and these really distorted religious beliefs about abortion, women. There's a lot going on there with their identity and the counseling they received. Very fanatical.
Okay, so two separate threats. A serial killer avenging a past injustice, and a religious fanatic stalking a public figure.
Exactly. And here's where King just masterfully twists it all together.
How so?
The killer from the Duffry case, Trigg, it turns out he's Donald Gibson.
Okay.
And Donald Gibson is the program director at the Mingo Auditorium.
Where Kate McKay is scheduled to speak? No way.
This way. And suddenly, Trigg makes Kate McKay his next target.
Why? How does she fit into his atonement plan for the Duffry jurors?
It's unclear if she directly connects to Duffry or if Gibson, in his warped state, just sees her as another symbol of something guilty or wrong that needs correcting according to his logic. Maybe just another disruption.
So he decides to go after her. How does he make his move?
He uses Corey. He kidnaps her.
Oh, God.
Sends Kate this absolutely terrifying photo of Curry duct taped, telling her to come to the abandoned Holman rink. Alone.
It's awful. And Kate goes.
She does. But she's not the only one heading there.
Who else?
Barbara Robinson, remember her. She joined Sista Bessie's band, that positive subplot.
Yeah, a nice bit of hope in the story.
Well, Gibson tricks her into going to the rink, too.
So he's gathering victims.
Seems like it. And then there's just proximity.
Yeah.
Pure chance, almost. The Guns N' Roses charity softball game is happening nearby, in the same park.
Okay, wait. Who's at the game?
A lot of our characters. Izzy's pitching, because the usual pitcher, Dean Miter, apparently broke his hand in a bar fight.
Oh, sick.
Tom Atta's there. Jerome is there, escorting Sista Bessie. She's supposed to sing the national anthem.
Right.
John Ackerley is around, too. And Holly realizes Kate's gone off radar, senses something's wrong, and follows her tracks straight to the rink.
So everyone converges on this abandoned rink. It's like a perfect storm.
Exactly. King pulls all the threads together in one incredibly tense location.
So the climax, Holman Rink, what happens?
Chaos. Absolute chaos. Gibson Trigg has Corey and Barbara tied up inside.
Okay.
Chrissy Stewart, the stalker, is also there, hiding, waiting to attack Kate.
So two different antagonists in the same place, both after Kate.
Yep. Kate arrives, trying to save Corey. Holly follows close behind. Jerome and Sista Bessie are drawn towards the building too, hearing commotion maybe.
Then what?
Chrissy attacks Kate almost immediately, just consumed by their fanaticism.
Okay.
Gibson sees this. It's messing up his plan, right? So he just kills Chrissy brutally.
Okay. So the stalker is out. Now it's Kate versus Gibson.
Kate fights back. She manages to use pepper spray on Gibson.
Yes, go Kate.
Buys her a second, but he recovers quickly, injures her. And then he does something truly awful.
What?
He starts a fire, intends to burn the whole place down, everyone inside.
Oh, no. Corey and Barbara are still tied up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Holly's outside. She has her gun, but she's struggling with whether to go into the burning building. It's a huge risk.
And we get inside Gibson's head a bit here too, right?
We do. King gives us these flashes, his twisted justifications, these disturbing memories about his father, about hockey when he was a kid.
Yeah.
It shows the mix of trauma and vengeance boiling inside him.
So how do they get out?
Sista Bessie arrives inside just as things are getting desperate. She gives Jerome a pocket knife.
Quick thinking.
Totally. Jerome, despite being injured himself in the chaos, manages to cut Corey and Kate free. They escape the fire, injured but alive. Barbara gets out too.
Thank goodness. And Gibson, Trigg.
He sees inside. The implication is clear. He lets the fire consume him.
So it's like his final act of atonement, seeing himself as the guilty one who needs to pay.
It really seems that way. Fits his own twisted narrative right to the very end. Suicide by fire.
Phew. Intense. So the aftermath. It's confirmed Donald Gibson was Bill Wilson, was Trigg.
Yes. And they find notebooks at his home. That sheds more light, doesn't it?
Tell us about those.
Labels like character defects and letters to daddy. They really lay bare his psychology, confirm the obsession with the Duffry case, but also this deeply troubled relationship with his father.
So it paints a picture of trauma, isolation, warped beliefs, all festering until they exploded into violence.
Precisely. Framed as atonement, but rooted in something much darker and more personal.
And Jerome, he was injured.
Yeah, but he recovers. And apparently, the whole ordeal gives him a new focus for his writing. A small sliver of something constructive coming out of the horror.
So looking back this whole section, it really feels like you said, King is leading us through these converging nightmares.
Mm-hmm. He takes these threats that seem miles apart, the serial killer with a specific grievance, the religious stalker with ideological motives, and just slams them together.
And it makes you think about fanaticism, doesn't it? How it can spring from personal trauma or ideology or this weird mix of both.
Absolutely. And how it leads to such horrific violence.
Yeah.
But you also see the other side, the resilience. Kate, Corey, Barbara, even the investigators like Izzy, Tom, Holly, just trying to make sense of it, to impose some order.
Okay, so here's what I find really fascinating thinking about Gibson's end. He uses the language of recovery, atonement, character defects, right?
Yeah.
But his final act, staying in the fire, feels like self-destruction fulfilling his guilty one prophecy. So was the atonement talk just a mask? A way to justify the violence he always wanted to commit? Or did he genuinely believe in some warped version of it that included his own death sentence?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How much was self-deception versus a truly bizarre internal logic?
And maybe King uses the setting, too, that decaying abandoned rank. Is it mirroring the decay inside Gibson himself? Where the talk of atonement was just wallpaper over deep psychological damage.
Ooh, I like that. The external, reflecting the internal rot. That's definitely something King would do. It really makes you think about motive and self-justification.
Whew. Okay. What a journey through Never Flinch. Stephen King, man. He really knows how to get under your skin.
He certainly does. A powerful, disturbing, but compelling read, for sure.
Well, thank you for walking us through that. It's always great to really dig into King's layers. There's always so much there.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Always fun to talk, King.
So that wraps up our look at Never Flinch. If you enjoyed our chat, please do give us a like, maybe leave a comment, tell us what you thought of this story. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, subscribe to Cliffhangers and Page Turners so you don't miss what we tackle next.
And next week, we're changing gears quite a bit.
We are. Join us next week for episode 16. We're stepping back into the roaring 20s for a true American classic, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Should be a fascinating discussion.
Looking forward to it.
Us too. Until then, keep turning those pages.